All right, let's talk about it. It's one of the biggest questions, maybe the biggest question you face when you dive into the world of Linux. Which distribution should you actually use? If you've ever been stuck at that crossroads, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's figure this out. And look, if you've ever stared at that long list of Linux distros and just felt completely lost, yeah, you're not alone. Not even close. There are literally hundreds of options out there, and it can feel totally overwhelming trying to figure out where to even begin.
So, here's the most important thing to get your head around, and really, the whole point of this explainer. There is no single best Linux distro. It just doesn't exist. The right choice is all about you. It comes down to your personality, what you need to do, and what you actually want from your computer.
To really understand this, we're going to put two heavyweights in the ring. These two distros represent two totally different competing philosophies. In one corner, you've got Linux Mint, and in the other, the legendary Arch Linux.
So Linux Mint is all about that it just works experience, right? It's built from the ground up to be stable, easy, and familiar from the second you install it. And then you have Arch Linux, which is, well, the exact opposite. It gives you this tiny, minimal-based system and basically says, okay, here are the tools, you build the rest. You get absolute control, but that also means you have absolute responsibility.
And honestly, I don't think I can say it better than this quote from Danny's tutorials. Mint is a set it and forget it system. The whole goal is to get you up and running without any fuss. Arch, on the other hand, is a build it and maintain it system. For Arch users, the building and maintaining, that's part of the fun.
A huge piece of that experience really comes down to the software engine, what we call the package manager. This is the heart and soul of the distro. It's how you install, update, and manage every single app. And believe me, it says a lot about the philosophy behind the system.
Okay, just look at the commands side by side. Mint uses apt, and it's super readable, right? Apt install, it does exactly what you think it does. Arch uses pacman, which is much more, let's say, terse. That S flag stands for sync, which is Arch's way of saying install or update. It's a little weird at first, but it has its own logic and its own advantages.
And one of the biggest advantages is just raw speed. Pacman is noticeably, and I mean noticeably faster. So why is that? Well, a couple of reasons. The packages themselves are compressed a bit more efficiently, and the tool itself is just built to be incredibly lean and streamlined. When you're managing a lot of software, you can really feel that difference.
But it's not just about speed, it's about what software you can get your hands on. Mint's official software library, its repository, is absolutely massive. For anything extra, you can add what's called a PPA, a personal package archive. Think of it as a little side shop run by a developer. Arch, on the other hand, has something truly unique, the legendary Arch User Repository, or AUR.
The AUR is a total game changer for so many people. Instead of downloading a pre-built package that somebody else made, you download a simple script. That script then grabs the program's original source code and builds it from scratch, right there on your machine. The best part? You can open up that script and read exactly what it's going to do. It's the ultimate in transparency and control.
And that brings us to the next big philosophical question you have to ask yourself. Do you want a system that is rock solid and predictable? Or do you want a system that gives you the absolute newest software the second it's released?
Linux Mint follows what's called a point release model. Think of it like a car. You get the 2023 model, Mint 21, and it's been tested like crazy to make sure everything is stable. You'll get security updates for it, for sure, but you won't get huge new features until the 2024 model, Mint 22, comes out. It's predictable, and it's super reliable.
Arch is the complete opposite. It's a rolling release. There's no Arch 2023 or Arch 2024. There's only one version of Arch, the latest one. Your system is like a river, constantly flowing, with updates, bringing you the newest features and patches almost immediately. It's always on the cutting edge. Okay, so this is where a lot of gamers' ears probably perk up, right? The big question, does being on the cutting edge with Arch actually mean you get better gaming performance? The short answer? Not really. For most hardware you'd be using today, the gaming performance is going to be pretty much identical across any modern distro. The one tiny exception is if you have brand spanking new hardware. A rolling release like Arch might get you the drivers you need a little bit sooner. And yeah, SteamOS is technically based on Arch, but Valve has changed it so much that it doesn't really act like a normal rolling release anymore. Okay, now let's dig a little deeper and maybe poke the hornet's nest a little bit. We hear the word stable all the time. and our brains immediately think secure. But is that always true?
So let me just ask it plainly. You hear that a distro is stable, and you think, great, that means it's safe. But does stability automatically guarantee that your system is more secure? The answer might actually surprise you.
Here's the reality check. On a point-release system like Mint, which is built on Ubuntu, only a very small fraction, about 2,300 out of tens of thousands of packages, are actively maintained for security by the main team. That means a lot of other software, even some security tools, might not get patched right away. And this is the key takeaway. Stability is about making sure software doesn't break your system. Security is about patching holes that hackers can exploit. They are not the same thing.
Because at the end of the day, a huge part of your system's security, well, it comes down to you. It doesn't matter if you're on Mint or Arch. If you don't turn on and configure your firewall, you're leaving a door wide open. Security is an action you take, not just a feature of your distro.
Okay, we have thrown a lot at you. We've talked philosophy, package managers, and security. So let's land the plane and bring this all together to help you figure out which path is actually yours.
It really just boils down to this. If what you value most is stability and simplicity, a system that gets out of your way so you can get work done, then Linux Mint is probably your jam. But if you crave control, if you love to tinker, and you absolutely need the newest software, then Arch is probably calling your name. It's set it and forget it versus build it and maintain it.
But here's the cool part about where Linux is today. What if you don't have to choose? The lines are getting blurrier all the time. You have distros like CatchyOS that give you a simple point-and-click installer, but underneath, it's all pure Arch. You get the power and the cutting-edge software of Arch with the easy setup of a system like Mint.
And that brings us right back to you. After everything, what do you really want from your computer? Do you want to be a builder, someone who crafts their own system from the ground up, piece by piece? Or are you a user, someone who just wants a reliable tool that works right out of the box? The answer to that one question, that's what's going to guide your entire Linux journey.